Welcome everybody to the inaugural episode of Show to Be Named Later. We're still debating on that one, so we're happy to be here. Happy to be re-reviewing films of your yesteryear. I will be your host tonight, Mr. Gagne, and joining me is my wonderful old friend. Three olds maybe? Old friend Rinaldo Russo. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I mean, we're old friends, but we're not old, right? I mean,
you and I are old friends, but yeah, I wouldn't say we're old per se. I would say that we've known each other for a very long time, so long that we actually worked at a movie theater back when this film came out, and actually met probably the year before that. So that's dating us, 1997.
Saying you're old.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little bit like we're getting on that. Like I remember thinking people our age were old when we were kids. So we clearly must be old.
Yeah, I like going to bed at 10 these days.
Yeah, that's why we're starting this recording a little earlier while the sun is still up and we're still awake.
Okay.
Met in 97, worked at the theater together, and thank God we did, because in 1998 we were brought this magical gem of a film that we're going to talk about tonight, none other than the disaster flick known as Armageddon.
Yeah! So
good. The word that I say a lot but spell incorrectly constantly. So
two D's and
only one G. Which clearly it sounds that way. I don't know why I always get tripped up in my head, but I do remember this film coming out in theaters. I do remember seeing it in theaters. I'm sure you do too. Give me a memory, something you remember about this film coming out, or.
It was 1998, and it had come out right after the other disaster movie, Deep Impact. Remember that?
Good old Deep Impact, yes.
Deep Impact, yeah. And I think, and I could be wrong, and correct me, I think Deep Impact wanted to get in there first before Armageddon because they knew that Armageddon was probably going to be better than Deep Impact.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So much so, I think there was a 3-month gap, I think, between the films, and heavy competition that year for, what was going to be the #1 film. This is long before, every summer blockbuster was, a superhero flick. So when it used to be like, you just didn't know what was, but Michael Bay, everyone knew pretty much that this was going to be, I think, the king of the summer. He was coming off of 2 back-to-back huge hits with Bad Boys and then The Rock. So to have this flick with, I mean, the who's who in Hollywood, I think really at that point, whether it was character actors or, top-notch Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck, this film, you could see it coming a mile away. It was Disney before Disney.
Yeah. I mean, it was full of main actors. I mean, good actors too. But yeah, I remember the trailer, how amazing the trailer was, and how I got goosebumps. And I remember where I sat. I remember where I saw it at. It was at the Pittsburgh Theater, I believe, that I saw it. Top row. And I believe I had Sour Patch Kids and a Coke, maybe a Pepsi, because I don't think we had Coke. And
we didn't.
It was so, oh man, it was so good.
All right, so 1, did you cry?
Yeah, I cried.
Yeah.
I cried like a little girl, big time. I am not ashamed to say that I bawled in Armageddon.
Fun fact, I remember getting an early screening of it during like a school day. Or no, it was a summer, so I guess it wasn't a school day, but it was a random weekday. And I remember coming out of it and tears were on my face and people were like, "Oh, how was it?" Like our workers at the theater, and I was wiping tears, it was so good. And they're like, "Why are you crying?" You just don't know.
Yep.
You just don't know. And it still gets me. I know you rewatched it. I rewatched it. We're gonna get into it, but
we'll get to the tearjerker scene. But it still gets to me. I cried in this, and I didn't even cry in Titanic. Okay, that's a true story. This movie made me cry.
Where do we go first?
The opening scene, man. I remember being in theater, and then the screen turns into the starry night. And you just kind of hear the echoing of the score, right? And here's the narrator coming, and he tells you that about the dinosaurs and how the asteroid hit, and it's saying, it happened before, and it could happen again. And it's just like it's just a matter of time. And I was hooked from that point. And I had goosebumps from
Not
the very
any
beginning.
narrator, not any narrator. Charlton Heston himself,
Okay.
the man who lived through, you know, the world being run by apes.
Yeah. He was Moses, right?
He was everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
Yeah. He was
He's
Moses.
Charlton freaking Heston.
He's
You know.
seen it all. He's seen it all. Yeah. That's funny. Fun fact. I didn't know that.
Fun fact, I didn't either.
Oh.
So last night when I finally like was, you know, really intentionally trying to like pick up details that I hadn't seen before, I'm listening to the voice going, God, he sounds so familiar. Who is that? And sure enough, it was Charlton Heston. So I had to share that fun fact. Something I should have known already, but hey.
That's good stuff. Yeah. I mean, it could have been Morgan Freeman, right?
He was busy playing the president that year. So wasn't he the president in Deep Impact, or am I confusing?
He was. He was the president in Deep Impact.
So he was too busy to he's big time, man. He's the president. He doesn't need no narrating.
Deep Impact wasn't that good, but we won't touch that.
I love the opening scene so much because they put Eddie Griffin in the trailer and they put him in this beginning scene in the movie, and that's it. They made you think that Eddie Griffin was like in this movie. He's not in this movie. He's in there to say Little Reggie and Big Time and like yell at a giant dude, you know.
He's like a big giant Samoan dude.
Yeah, selling Godzilla.
Selling Godzilla.
And the Little Reggie attacks the Godzilla, which was like complete, like, bam, right to Dean Devlin and Godzilla coming out that year. They were just like, Bay was ready to fight everybody. He was like, I am going to win.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the best movie of the year. Fun fact, it was the highest grossing movie of the year.
It was.
And it belongs in like the upper echelon of like rewatchable popcorn flicks. It's just that good.
I think it does. I mean, I think it's there for the most. I don't know. I feel like
people hate on it.
Really?
Maybe not.
I feel like we're not the only two people that love it. There's a fan club out there for Armageddon. There's got to be
a fan club for Armageddon. I mean, if there isn't one, we should start one.
Yeah. Just yes. That's just yes. And did you see the opening shot of the World Trade Center?
Yes. And after,
that's right.
The after scene was even more kind of like, ooh, like, just it's weird. It's weird to see. They got
very eerie.
For a PG-13 movie, and we'll call it some other stuff, they got away with a lot in this film. A lot of death, a lot of destruction. I mean, seeing like bodies fly out of the Chrysler building as it's crashing to the ground, like seemed like, wow, that seemed surprising to me in a film that wasn't rated R, and you weren't expecting to see as much, I guess, on screen.
Yeah, I mean, it went by so quick at times. So I don't know. I think the PG-13 was fine. I don't think it should have been an R.
Maybe not necessarily, but there are some things where it's like Bay's good at. Well, no, he's good at towing the line. But I was gonna say The Rock was R, Bad Boys was R.
The Rock was R, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, a lot more language, a little bit less language than this. No nudity, obviously, but I felt like at the time I didn't really think PG-13 films showed that much death and destruction, and that was like, whoa, okay, all right, got people falling out towards the screen. It was nuts.
Yeah. PG-13's come a long way now.
Yes, that's true. I can feel like that was just cut away. I thought that was one specific thing that I noticed. I was like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. I'd have to go watch some of the other disaster films from the time.
Ugh, they're not that good, but okay. They're not.
They don't compare to this, but yeah.
Like here, I'll throw this out, and I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of haters for this. I didn't like Independence Day at all.
Okay.
I didn't like it. I saw it in theater. At all.
All right. Well, you may have to rewatch this. Well, you didn't like it.
The only good part in that movie was my man, Jeff Goldblum.
Your man, my man, everyone's man, Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum, and that's it.
Yeah, it doesn't hold up as well as I remember. I still enjoy it because Will Smith is charismatic and Jeff Goldblum is amazing and there's aliens in action. But I'll agree, it doesn't. Me at 15 when I saw it in theaters, when you're the
Sure.
screen, and
Yeah.
amazing. Watching it now, I never watch it that much, so
Yeah.
I can agree with that. It does. I wouldn't say I didn't like it. I would never admit to that, because Welcome to Earth, like, that's
Yeah.
amazing. So
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. I mean, he punches the alien. He
yeah,
punches the alien.
that's how bad he is.
All right, let's move
Anyhow,
forward.
we digress between Independence Day. Back to the matter at hand. The Armageddon. Bay, never ending, has to put himself in all of his films. Shows
Yes.
up as a scientist.
Engineer or scientist.
Sure, whatever. NASA.
I put doctor in my notes and then I crossed it out.
He might have been a doctor of something. Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I showed Burke. I'm like, oh, that's the director.
Always having to put himself in the films, but whatever. Didn't give himself lines, so.
Here's another fun fact. J.J. Abrams wrote the screenplay for it.
That probably lends itself to why it's so good.
Hey, I'm a J.J. Abrams fan.
Next question.
What is the asteroid's name?
Dottie.
Dottie. That's right. Yeah.
Get the book. Get the book. Get the book.
That was such a weird scene, right? It was really intense. Like it was. I remember watching it, and I was just like, "What's wrong with them?" I mean, I understand that they're married and they're not happy, but it was just so intense. And she flips him off, and like you say, she's like, "Get the book, get the book." I'm like, "Whoa!" Right? And you remember his name?
I don't remember.
His name was Carl. Yeah, Carl.
Right, yeah.
Carl.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so rude to his wife. It's just overt. Like, he's just yelling and screaming at her. It's just like, she got the book, man. Like, get off her back. Like, I want to name her Dottie. She's
blood sucking.
Hope I don't get to that level of marriage.
Nah. You'll be fine. Just don't buy a huge telescope.
No, huge telescope.
Yeah.
That's the first one that if I don't hear, or my wife doesn't hear what I'm asking for, we'll do the get the book.
Get the book! Get the book! It's funny. Yeah.
It's good, right? It's good. You got it. What did I note next? All right. So the description of what it's going to be like on the asteroid. I love Owen Wilson's delivery of scariest environment imaginable. So
yeah, that's what I had to say.
Scariest environment.
Which is funny because I always kind of forget that he's in it.
Right.
You know? When you think of Armageddon, you don't think Owen Wilson.
Well, right? At that time he was no one. Like this was his first like big film. Like he had done Bottle Rocket with Wes Anderson in like '97.
Yeah.
But that didn't do that wasn't quite like at that level yet for Wes Anderson even, and it was his first film. So at that time he wasn't. It was more like, who is that guy?
Right.
Not like that's Owen Wilson.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
What's
it gonna be like? That's funny.
It's actually a good impression of him.
I try.
Job. Yeah.
I try. Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Moving forward. One of the other scenes that I noted was when Harry tells everybody, okay, you guys got to go out. My team needs to go out. They're going crazy. They need to spend one last day doing whatever they want to do, basically. And Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler, or should I say AJ and Gracie, they're out in the field, and he's got his animal crackers.
Oh.
He's got his animal crackers, and you hear the Aerosmith, piano rendition going in the background, and she's lying down, and he's got an animal cracker, and he's going down south, or going down north, or the mountains, peaks, or whatever, right? I mean, it's kind of cheesy in itself.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it's really cheesy.
It's uncomfortable for me.
It kind of is a little bit, yeah. And then, but she says one line that was like, oh, that was kind of a cool line. When or AJ says it, and she turns and goes, baby, do you think someone's doing the very same thing that we're doing right now or whatever? And he goes, I hope so. Otherwise, what the hell are we trying to save? I thought that was pretty good.
It's a good line.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
It's a way better line than, watch as the gazelle goes to the mountainous peaks.
Yeah, but he had such sweet pillow talk. So, according to her.
Yeah, if your pillow is a BMW commercial, that thing was so set up like advertisement for BMW, and like made me want one because it made me think that I was going to have that same picnic, but don't go out, kids, because wear a mask and, don't be touching other people right now.
Right. Well, it was also a product placement for Barnum and Bailey animal crackers.
There you go. There you go.
Those are delicious.
They are delicious, and I agree with them. They're not a cracker; they're a cookie.
They're cookies.
100%.
Animal crackers.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I used to think as a kid that it was healthy because they were called crackers.
Nice.
Why I thought crackers were healthy, I have no idea. But they weren't sugars, so I assumed that made them healthy. But there was sugar in them. Yeah. Totally fucking confusing for a child.
All right, moving forward. What's the next thing that stood out?
I moved to Fly Us to the Russian Space Station, where we meet one of the best, if not my favorite, character actors of all time.
Wow. Okay, you're already past the launch. You're up in space already.
We could talk about April O'Neil if you want.
Can we rewind and go to April O'Neil?
Sure, right? Sure. So they haven't flown yet. They're still okay. They're still on Earth.
They're still on the ground, right? And so clearly you watch and you think, well, what happened, right? Like, why doesn't she let him see his own son? But yet it takes this for, this whole mission for you to see your son. So I thought April O'Neil was kind of shady in that sense.
But that's the thing, you don't even it paints her in a bad light, but you don't even know why there's a restraining order. Why the courts? Is he abusive? Is he a drunk? He's
a gambler. He has a gambling problem, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
you're like, here's this lovable right-hand man to Harry, but he's got this deceitful past, probably PTSD. They mentioned he was in the military.
He's a war vet. That's right. Good point. Yeah.
And so he's probably had drinking problems, clearly has a gambling problem, can't be around the kid. But, gambling problem, I don't know. It's an addiction.
Okay, cool. And then really quick, I want to touch on the launch scene. That whole when everybody's suiting up, and the president's giving the speech, and you're seeing them just suit up, and you hear the kind of score going around, and you see the crowds. Oh, that scene is just, I love it. One of the best scenes for me there.
What disaster film doesn't have, the president talking montage? It's necessary. I will say Bay does it really, really well, except what the hell, when they're flashing to places in America, why is homegirl in a 57 Chevy listening to it on her transistor radio in her car on a farmhouse? Why are all the boys running around with wagon wheels? This isn't, when was this movie supposed to take place? He went straight Americana with the blue jeans, American flags, kids running around in little tank tops with pinwheels, and it's just it's literally a Levi's commercial from, from whenever, I don't know, but it just strikes me as odd every time I watch it. It's one of those moments where it kind of breaks you. You're like, what? Is that supposed to be America? I'm kind of confused.
America.
No, it's we're spending all of our budget on other things, so we're just gonna film
a dirt town in Idaho.
No one lives here anymore, but this is exactly. This is part of Iowa over here that we're just gonna film it.
Yeah, I want that kid. Put them in overalls. No socks and shoes.
No, they're not riding their bikes. They're pulling them in a radio flyer.
That's right.
God,
that's America. And then, okay, one last thing before we go to the Russian spacecraft. One scene where they say, "This is the kick-ass ride." I hate that scene. I hate it. I hate it. I cringe every time I see that scene.
Fair. Why? What about that? Houston, this is a kick-ass ride?
His face, one of the pilots, he goes, "Houston, this is a kick-ass ride." I don't need that. Just hold on tight, man, and just enjoy the ride. You're our heroes already. So just stop. Don't say anything.
They had to break up the 60 seconds of the shaking screen.
I wasn't into that. I was there. I was right there with them. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
There are some lines that definitely are ugh, I'll call it. I threw a couple more on there where I'm with you. They're just was that necessary?
No, it wasn't. Yeah. All right. We're in space. We need to refuel. And we need to go to the Russian space station.
And this is the start of nothing good happens after this. calamity after calamity after calamity, like every scene. But they get to pick up Lev, who has been stuck on a Russian space station for the last 18 months. Peter Stormare, dude, I love this guy. He's so good. He steals the show in this movie for me. Like, there's so many good one-liners. He's been in, I mean, at this point, like, I'd seen him in, I feel like, every movie. It felt like, oh my God, that's the guy from that movie. And that movie he was in Fargo. Right. He was in Big Lebowski.
Well, Steve Buscemi and him were in Fargo.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, he goes on to do a ton of other, he was in The Lost World Jurassic Park. He was in Bad Boys 2 and Minority Report. And he shows up in the best spots with the best lines. And I love him in this movie so, so much. Like the cowboy line, you know, like, I told you cowboys not to touch anything or something like that. He just, his delivery.
Americans, you bunch of cowboys.
Exactly, yeah. He does it for me, man. And I love when he joins the group. He's another one up there.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. I thought the Russian scene was the start of everything going bad. And it was just the right amount of intense to get you to the point like, oh my gosh, here we go. Nothing's going to go right. And, you know, AJ always has all these close calls, and oh my gosh, for them to like leave him in the pot scene, it was just, and you saw the yellow screens just moving around, him and Lev in there. Mm-hmm. That was good. That was really good. And I'm glad that Lev, Peter, what's his last name?
Stormare. Stayed
in the movie because he adds to that movie. So completely 100% agree with you on that. Great.
I called out the script part, but I thought there was if you don't have anything, I'm moving the conversation forward a little bit, but
go for it.
The genius of the 10-man crew, I was saying earlier, like at this point when all that calamity starts happening, like you really start to think like, shit, they're going to start killing people. Like at this point, like there's all this shit's happening. Like someone's going to die. Like they can't all keep living through this. The crash of the Independence, like 100% still gets me when they get hit by the asteroid, and the way they do the score and the way it's the cutscenes and the Billy Bob dropping the mug of coffee in slow-mo and just, you know, Gracie, and like, it's just like, you were expecting something, but I wasn't expecting something like that drastic. Yeah. And so when it happens, it still hits me like, no, and it's carnage. Like the guys getting the
pilots,
the captains, the pilots, being pulled sucked out into space, and you know, you don't know who's gonna make it. They're all trying to scramble to get to the bottom of the ship, and you know, you got Bear and AJ and oh my God, what's Owen Wilson's character's drawing a blank his character, but Oscar, thank you. And you're just kind of like, and then Lev as well, and so you just don't.
You also have the other guy, Benny, who wasn't really in the movie a whole lot. He was like a dark-haired guy. He wanted to see his two American friends become American citizens, no questions asked.
Is that his name, Benny? I thought it was Newman.
Really? I don't know.
I don't know what they call him, but yeah, the one who wanted the two women made.
Yeah, he was kind of there as a filler. So.
Yeah, he's like we gotta make this even. We need 10 people, so you, craft service guy, come over here. Sorry, that's doing disrespect if he's an actual actor. I don't know who he is.
So go ahead. The 10-man crew. Yeah.
So I the fact that they double up, the fact that they have this giant crew, because look, let's be real, you could have made this a 5, you know, a 1 shuttle thing. It didn't have to be this giant crew, but you start to get to like.
That's not true, because NASA doubles up on everything. They don't take chances.
Good call. Good call. So. You're right. First to drill wins. Well, obviously it wasn't going to be the Independence because they out. It's still gut wrenching for me. I don't know why. It's the way it's done. It's done so well.
It's done well, and then you know, you're hearing the crew in the back. You know, put your helmet on, get sealed or go in the compartment, and nobody's able to do it. And it's crashing, and it's just like you said, the score just becomes so just down, and you know, like something bad is happening. And then who was it? Was it Stanford that said, "Was that the Independence?" And you see the body just hit their windshield.
It's gruesome. Yeah, really good stuff. And then obviously they crash land on the asteroid, and you're like, it's almost like the hyperventilation moment where you're like, what just happened? Now what's going to happen?
Yep. Yeah.
And then the Steve Buscemi show kicks in, because he's the best part about like the next like 20 minutes with his space dementia. And
See, okay, you want to go into space? I hated that.
Really?
I hated the whole space dementia. I love how they played him out to be this smart genius guy, right? Because I totally didn't. I guess I maybe realized or didn't realize, but the reason it was hard to drill is because they landed on an iron plate, and he landed 26 feet from, or 26 miles from his original landing spot, where it wasn't going to be so hard to drill,
right.
And I like that angle that they were going with him. He was just kooky, but he was smart. And then when he had the whole space dementia, when Colonel Sharp he just looks and goes, he's got space dementia. I was like, it's another, this is a kick-ass ride. I don't need it.
I'll agree that the line is stupid, but Buscemi is amazing. He's riding the nuke, chanting no nukes. He takes the Gatling gun, which, why is there a Gatling gun on this thing? You're in space. If not for just the scene where AJ and them break through by shooting the remnants of the shuttle, there's no reason for this Gatling gun to be on this thing. And then Buscemi starts firing it, which is hilarious. Like, they have to tackle him. They have to tie him up. They have to, he's losing his mind as they're out there. Didn't
need to call it space dementia. I hate the way Sharp says it. He's got space dementia. That's cool. Why don't we just feel like he's going nuts? He's going crazy. But I guess space dementia, is it a thing? I don't know.
Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. It's I don't work for NASA, so I can't tell you.
Okay, so you were saying that they used the gun to get out of the spaceship, and then what? And then
they get back, and the worst line in the movie is delivered.
Which one?
The guy turns to Liv Tyler just so they can have a shot of Liv Tyler again. And he's like, "Looks like your boyfriend's back." I'm like, yeah, we know. Like, why do you need to say that other than we need another shot of Liv Tyler in this movie? Like, and she doesn't respond. She's like it's just the first time where I was like, that should
okay. I'll give that to you. That's pretty bad. Your boyfriend's back. Oh, he is back.
So. Thanks. Yeah. And also, he's my fiance. We're engaged.
Yeah, he should have said. Well, but he didn't know. He didn't know, right?
I mean, it's NASA. I figured they knew everything. So yeah.
There was somebody backing somebody up. They're backing somebody up.
All right, what notes do you got next? Because I start fast forwarding to the end, because it's from here on out. It's like, oh, the light's not working. What are we gonna do? Oh, the bomb's not working. What are we gonna do? And it's very repetitive like that until they save the day.
All right, so let's do this. So AJ and his crew saves the day. He comes with the other armadillo, right? And then they hit 800 feet, right?
Not before we lose like 3 other people. Max dies. Random Gruber guy dies, who was another NASA guy. Yeah. You get the Indiana Jones asteroid boulder, going over your face.
I remember that. Yes. Okay, so all that happens. They hit 800 feet. Harry trusts AJ to keep going, right? And
you have to have.
His trust pays off. And they're getting ready to leave, and Colonel Sharp says the worst thing you could possibly say. The bomb basically is not working, or the remote detonator is not working. Somebody has to stay behind, and we have the sacrifice. So drawing of the straws.
Yes.
You get AJ, who draws a short straw. You get Lev, who draws the biggest straw. And then everybody else draws. And did you think AJ was going to die?
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, solely on the fact that Bruce Willis is the bigger character. And I just thought that it could have gone in any direction. Like, I didn't foresee at least the first time around. Like, maybe it feels more familiar or what. But first time around, nope. didn't really know how it was going to go. Even when Bruce Willis is like, "Oh, I'll walk him down," or
Yeah. I agree. I remember watching it. I mean, I was just in the zone watching this in the theater, and I didn't even think that Bruce Willis would do that. I just thought AJ's dead, right? Because Bruce Willis promised Gracie that he'd be back, and they're gonna stick to that promise. I mean, I was gullible. I was so into this movie. Seriously, I was so into this movie that I was just on the edge of my seat. What is going to happen? AJ's gonna sacrifice himself. Harry's got to get back. And then all of a sudden, Harry Stamper breaks his oxygen tube, takes his patch, kicks him back into the elevator shaft, goes whatever, and he says his lines. He says, I always thought of you as a son, but I'll be damn proud of you to marry Gracie. And then that's when my emotions and my goosebumps and the feels and all that stuff start to happen because. Bruce Willis says, I love you, son. And then you got AJ screaming, I love you, and tears. And there's something to be said about these two roughneck dudes who genuinely care for each other. And one who has a daughter, and the younger guy's going to marry her. And it's just, dude, to me, that broke me.
Yeah. Yeah. My notes just say waterworks because the lines are perfect. It's well done. It's so delivered, like with just Affleck and Willis, like do it well. Like that scene is done. It's my turn now. Go take care of my daughter. Go take care of my daughter. That's your right. job now.
Oh man!
Just like that. No, Harry screaming, I love you. Yeah. Like you got the entire time they've been. At each other, and he doesn't, just.
There was like a love-hate thing going, like a father-son kind of like bickering back and forth, but you knew that they cared about each other.
Yeah.
And it was just, that was more intense.
It's so badass because Bruce Willis like, no, I'm saving the day. Like,
I'm
Harry Stamper.
Ain't nobody taking the spotlight from me. And then right there, I figured, okay. He's going to do this.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, what the hell is he going to say to Gracie? And then we move forward to
the awkward moment where a daughter has to have a conversation with her dying father in front of everybody. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So fun fact in that scene, in order for Bruce Willis to because he really started crying in that, when he started saying his lines, I read that he had pictures of his kids in front of him, so he was saying it to them, the line.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay. Method acting.
Yeah. But that scene was pretty good too, between him and Gracie.
It's good. I like Liv Tyler a lot, and maybe it's just not an easy scene, but like the more I watch that, like, and I guess I don't know what she's gonna do. I needed more emotion from her. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like at some point she gets like she's not even crying. She's just like. I'm gonna miss you, Harry. I was like, give me more. Give me more.
I agree. It was good. Not as good as the Ben Affleck and Bruce Willis scene, but it was still touching, I thought.
Yeah. Oh, it's totally touching. It's so good for so many reasons, and even I think stronger now. I mean, we're both fathers, and imagining saying that to your kid, and your kid having to watch you like put your life on the line, like. It's totally emotional. It's emotional. It was emotional when I wasn't a father. Like when I was a teenager, it was emotional. Because you imagine that putting that, and they put you in the real feeling of like you being there. Like certain ways it's shot. Real close-ups. And just the back and forth with them, and not a lot of other stuff. And so, other than he shouts out a couple people and like forgets the rest of his crew. He tells about AJ, tells Chick, everyone else, whatever. The rest of you guys. We don't have all day. Like I gotta press his button. So.
That's right. He does that. And then I thought it was kind of the scene where she puts her hand on the screen on the monitor, right? And you see all the screen monitors just kind of go blank. I thought that was kind of a neat shot, although it was a little bit forced.
When the screen goes like salt and pepper, and she's just like, yeah.
I was like,
that's where I felt like her part seemed really forced. It didn't feel, I don't know. She should have had a picture of her dad or something, Steven Tyler right there. Yeah.
But he was singing. He was doing the score in the background. So. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So where do you want to go from here? We're close to the end.
The best line in my eyes is Lev when he pushes Watts out of the way, and it's Russian components, American components, all made in Taiwan, and just this is how we do it on the Russian space station because I don't want to be here anymore, and then it starts working. It's so good. There's those moments that break you from the like constant adrenaline of like, oh my God, what's happening, that you get that you're like, okay, I can breathe a little bit. I'm laughing,
Right. Yeah.
That bring you, down just a notch so that you can fucking ramp up again.
So you can breathe a little bit.
Was it awkward for you to watch is this Harry like light flashing before his eyes when the bomb goes off? Like, it's just like awkward, like back and forth between him and Gracie's face.
I think it wasn't awkward. I think my take on that was that Harry knew he was going to die, and he knew he wasn't going to see all these moments of Gracie, but at the same time, all these memories of her. I mean, that was his only kid, right? And that's probably the closest to her out of anybody in life. Yeah. So all these memories, these flashbacks of her start flashing when she was a kid on the swing and everything. And then also, hey, I'm not going to be there for her wedding, walking her down the aisle and all that stuff. So I thought it was pretty neat how they did that. I really liked it.
Yeah, I guess I was just kind of not off guard. I've seen it, but I was trying to figure out like what that was supposed to be, like him visualizing those things, like you said, or like light flashing before his eyes, remembering all the things about Gracie. Obviously, like you're not gonna show him getting blown up, but it was just one of those moments. I was like, I wonder what they were trying to do there. But
I mean, his last thought was of her, right? Gracie, we win. It was his last thought. So, and last thought, person he was closest to. That's my take on it.
Bear's last thought was, "Yo, Harry, you the man."
I mean, there's a lot of good lines towards the end, right? Harry, you the man. Harry doesn't know how to fail.
We skipped over the Billy Bob. That's a order you should, and you fucking know it. Like when he yells at who's it?
Keith
David.
I don't know.
Dr. Facilier from
I was just about to say
one of my favorites of Disney. Yes.
Anyways,
so they land, and here's whatever. You get all the montages again and stuff, but the big problem that I still go back to all the time, and we already talked about April O'Neil. If she's not babysitting turtles, she shouldn't be in this movie.
Ouch.
She shows it. It's just the character. It's not her fault. But all of a sudden, she shows up with the kid, and it's like, that's not that's not a salesman. That's your daddy. You're like, wait, what? Now he's fine? Like, because he's going to be going to save the world, I guess. And then the kid shows up who, like, literally, like, I don't know, 3 days ago was like, who's that? Like, goes running to him, like, big old hugs and stuff. No kid's going to do that. He doesn't even know who the guy is. And get her out of here. She didn't want him around. She didn't get to be here now.
I agree. I can't argue with that. I can't play devil's advocate on that.
Boo! She was mean to him.
I agree. I can't argue with that. And another thing that I always thought was like, how did they get access to the ground level where the shuttle landed?
The runway.
The runway. How did the stripper get access to the runway?
Right.
So I just, so I agree. I mean, it was sentimental, and Chick got to see his son, be with his son. I don't know, maybe only for a week.
There's a lot of awkwardness at that point because you have to find a way to like celebrate, but you also have like, oh my God, we lost how many freaking people on this mission? But you get Sharp with like permission to shake the hand of the daughter of the bravest man. It's like just an awkward mouthy line. You're like, what? Are you just hey, your dad was the bravest man? Like, the permission thing was just like, okay, all right, Sharp, we're going a little too far.
I read somewhere that Mr. Bay, Michael Bay, he didn't like the third act of the movie, and he said he felt rushed because the company was they wanted the movie done within like 16 weeks. I think they shot the movie in 16 weeks.
Impressive.
Yeah. And he said it felt very rushed, and the third act he didn't like the third act.
I could see that. I mean, hindsight's 2020. I mean, the movie's still kind of long and still good. Like,
is it 3 hours? Is it almost 3 hours?
No. It's like 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Yeah, I want to say it's like right at 2.5 hours.
Because I watched it last night. I watched it when there was daylight, and then when it was off, it was nighttime.
It was past your bedtime.
It was past my bedtime. So I was like,
I had to watch it in 2 sittings, so I agree. I got to the space station on first launch and wrapped it up and landed back in Florida where the COVID is, right on time, right before this podcast. So
nice.
Closes the movie. I can't believe they spent money to shoot a wedding scene, like with no dialogue, just an excuse for them to all dress up at a wedding and pretend to do a wedding, all for the closing credit scene.
Yeah,
that's it. Like it just seems so weird to do that for like the movie's over. Like you don't need like they're holding each other on the
Okay, all right. I myself, I didn't really have a problem with the wedding. I mean, you could have ended it when Gracie and AJ kissed on the runway and faded it black if you wanted to. But I thought it was kind of neat because, they had the pictures of all the people that died at the wedding, and I don't know, it's a neat little send off. I didn't have a problem with it, and you got to hear the full Aerosmith song.
Like, the wedding scene was ridiculous. The loan shark is at the wedding. What the hell is the loan shark of Steve Buscemi doing at the wedding for?
Okay, good knowledge, because I saw this old guy sitting there, and I'm like, who is that? That was the loan shark.
Yes.
Wow.
Sitting next to April O'Neil, who now apparently is on the good side and gets to come to the wedding too. So, it was just, I was like, get out of here. It seemed frivolous and silly, but I mean, I guess in a movie where we're talking about, one of the biggest budgets at the time and a 2.5 hour runtime and all these actors, sure, do a wedding, I guess. It just seemed.
Well,
it seemed
unlike you, my friend, I didn't have a problem with the wedding.
You love love. Maybe I'm just a cold, heartless.
I don't know if I love love, but I thought, why not, Gracie and AJ? You deserve it. You guys deserve it after saving the world. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, sure. Let's shoot a wedding. It was just awkward. I can't imagine that day shooting like, we're going to shoot a wedding. Any lines? Nope.
It's like a music video.
Actually, yeah, it was a music video. That's what it was. Which I actually think they used. It's been a while since I've seen the music video, but you might be right. They actually might have used some of that in the music video.
Yeah, and so we had the soundtrack, but I had both soundtracks. I had the music soundtrack and I had the score soundtrack.
Yes.
And surprisingly, I used to think that Hans Zimmer did the score for this movie, and it wasn't. It was Trevor Rabin.
And I can never say the guy's name right. Harry Gregson. He's got like 3 names, but I think the same guy that did the score for The Rock.
No, Hans Zimmer did The Rock.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So that's why I always thought he did it for this, but he did it.
Well, that makes me want to go watch or listen to the Rock soundtrack or score a lot more now because I forgot Hans Zimmer did it. The guy's a genius. But the score in this one's pretty good.
The score in this one's great.
Yeah.
Great.
And start to finish, the movie's entertaining. And it just holds up really well. Even the effects, like there's a couple spots where you're like, meh, they could have do that better now, but most of it was really well done. It's 22 years old at this point, and it still looks good and is good. And it's Bay before Bay lost his mind playing with Transformers.
Yeah.
When I was a huge Bay fan, where I was like, yup, sign me up. Michael Bay is doing it. Jerry Bruckheimer is producing. Man, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So we're going to do a score. We're going to do some type of sliding scale. I think we're going to probably target it around, on a 1 to 5, but we're going to theme it every week. We're going to theme it after something from the movie, specifically. So like Armageddon, so the asteroid, Like how many asteroids?
Meaning 1 asteroid, the movie sucked.
Yes.
5 asteroids, I'm in. 100% amazing.
It could be space shuttles. It doesn't have to be asteroids. It could be drills, if you will.
You want to give it a truth? No, let's give it an asteroid.
I like the asteroid.
The asteroid doesn't get enough credit. All right, my friend, you may go first.
Oh, 4. I'm gonna give it 4. It is
4 asteroids.
It is a strong 4. I'm not going to use my half asteroid on Armageddon. Eventually I'll break out a half score somewhere, but I'll stick with a solid 4. I'm aware of its mistakes. I'm aware of its flaws, and I don't care. So for that, it is thoroughly rewatchable and so fun to talk about all the time.
Okay, 4 asteroids. That's a high score.
I don't know if Harry can handle it.
For me, this movie was the first movie that I had such high hopes, and it delivered on every single point. When I came out of that theater, my expectations were met and some. I laughed, I freaking bawled, and I felt good and happy, and I thought, this is the greatest movie ever. I knew it wasn't gonna win awards and people weren't gonna win Academy Awards, but I don't care. I don't care. My all-time favorite movie is Back to the Future, right? We'll do that another day. But this movie, on a level of just fun, heart, rewatchability, the score, expectations being fully met, I gotta give it a 5.
Oh, okay.
A 5.
Out of the gates, episode 1, perfect score.
This is why we chose this movie.
It's true.
Right? 5.
Sure.
It is a 5 for me, and every time I watch it, I never get bored. I'm into it, and it doesn't get boring, and I love it. And I know it's not a Good Will Hunting or something like that, but damn it, it is a freaking great movie.
It hits on all the right cylinders. I agree.
So,
I agree. I feel bad for not giving it more asteroids now.
I think you need to go back tonight and sleep on it, and maybe we'll do another episode where you'll correct yourself and maybe apologize to it.
If it's given a 5, everything that I like more than Armageddon has to have a 5 or a 6. I mean, it's on the level. Maybe it gets a half in my sleep, but it's never going to get a 5 because
Fair enough.
I'm going to give this one a solid, my 4 asteroids. And I mean, at this point, we're not telling anyone anything that they don't know. There are no, spoilers on a 2-decade-old movie.
Yeah, but, it's 20 years old.
Hopefully this made you guys who are listening, probably just our wives, wanted to rewatch it again, even if you just watched it again last night, because it is that movie that anytime it's on, I'm hooked. I will watch it. So, and it doesn't matter where it's in the movie, you know what's coming, and you still want to watch it. So,
Agreed.
Hope you enjoyed our re-review of a very old classic for us, one near and dear to our teenage heartthrob, Aerosmith. Don't want to miss a thing, hearts. I don't know where I was going with that, but the song just heartstrings right there.
Good stuff.
Thanks for joining us. I've been Christopher Gagne. This has been
For Your Consideration, Movie Film Review.
And that was Rinaldo Russo. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Later, guys.
Talk to you next time.